After a sharp exchange at Heathrow yesterday,
You have broken all the rules, Leveson and everything else. Cut.
Nigel Farage announced he was making a major announcement. The lectern was delivered to party headquarters, his MPs gathered.
Big smile is what I'm going to say. Big smile.
I'm looking forward to the press conference.
He might have a while to wait. These days, Nigel Farage prefers no media-controlled events. No questions.
Well, the new attack from the media is that somehow I am a crook. I am dishonest. Yet another reason to hate me. Commentators over the weekend have said, oh, look at the interviews Nigel's doing. He's not himself. He's getting angry. Am I angry? Well, I've never been angrier in my life.
Journalists kept outside heard him condemn Sky News for knocking on his daughter's door. He said media and government were conspiring against him over the undeclared £5 million gift. And he decided on something drastic.
Today, I will resign as a Member of Parliament for Clacton-on-Sea, thereby forcing a by-election, which should happen, I hope, in short order. No, I've decided that the people of Clacton should be the judges of my actions. This will be a people versus the establishment by-election. It's a chance to stick two fingers up to the entire establishment, to frankly tell them where to go.
Tonight, the Conservatives led the way as other political parties confirmed they will not be running in the Clacton by-election, which pollsters had Nigel Farage as firm favourite to win. They hope to turn a potential Farage carnival into a sideshow.
We're not standing a candidate in the fake by-election, which Nigel Farage is causing to distract people from what is happening. We need to let that investigation run its course.
This is a desperate stunt from Nigel Farage, and it's obvious why he's doing it. He is up to his neck in sleaze.
If, as expected, Nigel Farage gets re-elected, the investigation into his undeclared £5 million gift could resume, and he could be handed a penalty that triggers another by-election.
I think the Standards Commissioner and the Standards Committee, if he were returned to Parliament, would have to think about whether or not this sort of attempt to game the system was an aggravating factor that would justify further penalty.
Nigel Farage acknowledged his £5 million windfall looked like a lottery win, but he insisted forces were conspiring to paint him as a villain.
They keep changing all the rules again and again just to stop reform. Frankly, it is like living in a communist country. For over 20 years now, I have been subject to constant demonisation by the press. Being a member of the European Parliament for 20 years cost me a huge amount of money.
Nigel Farage alleged foul plots had brought him to this point.
He went on telly having a hissy fit because for the first time he is finally having to face some scrutiny after a very long honeymoon, and he cannot handle it.
Some people look at this and say, well, this is just Nigel Farage trying to dodge an inquiry which he can feel was going the wrong way for him.
Look, Nigel was very clear that he has broken no rules. He's an
He's not the arbiter of that. That's not how it works.
He's done absolutely nothing wrong. But
he doesn't sit in judgment. If
the people sit in judgment.
Well,
the people
actually,
sit in
there
judgment.
are rules about how an MP
actually,
behaves.
we're a democracy. Or at least we in Reform believe it. You might not think that if you look at the other parties.
Well, it sounds very Trumpian, because Donald Trump would say, the fact that voters vote for me, that trumps everything else.
Look what the Labour Party is doing. They've announced they're going to change the law so that British citizens cannot give donations to Reform.
You've changed subject there. I was asking about the rules that govern behaviour of an MP.
Illegally cancelling the election of 5 million people. You've got the leader of the Conservative Party likening Nigel Farage to Jeremy Thorpe, a man who stood trial for incitement for murder.
You're jumping around with different subjects.
You've got parts of the media banging on the door of Nigel's own daughter's house, someone who's got nothing to do with public life.
You're jumping lots of subjects there. Does
Nigel Farage... It's all the same story.
Is it?
We ultimately
Sky News knocking on someone's door is the same as whether an MP should accept the rules of Parliament. That's quite a jumble.
The establishment are trying to play judge and jury and executioner. Well, enough of that.
Many detected Nigel Farage borrowing lines from his old ally across the Atlantic.
I was attacked more than anybody in the history of our country.
And I am the most physically and verbally attacked public figure or politician of modern times.
But yeah, I think there was a bit of Trump in that. I think the main thing that it said to me, though, was that Nigel Farage actually still has some fight in him. I think there has been this view that perhaps he's backing off, he's frazzled, he's not so into the fight anymore. This is the decision that actually most puts a middle finger up at that theory. This is a guy who's not only willing to go for a by-election, he said he's ready to go for 2 if he has to make this point.
See you all in Clacton. In the summer.
He now faces a lonely by-election with no major party running against him. The focus, potentially, less on his anti-establishment views, more on his friends and finances.
So, what do the voters of Nigel Farage's Clacton seat make of today's developments? Our communities editor, Darshna Soni, is there for us. Darshna.
Well, it's been a scorching hot day here, Krish, and some people are asking whether Nigel Farage has called this election because he's feeling the heat. Now, if you thought the Makerfield by-election was consequential for the future of our country, Nigel Farage today said to voters here that this by-election will be just as important. And just as Andy Burnham wanted to prove that he has the popular vote up there, the support of his base in Manchester, that's what Mr Farage is hoping to do here in Clacton. And you have to remember, he's hugely popular here. I was here during the last election and saw people queuing up to shake his hand, to have selfies done with him. So he knows that he has got a lot of support here. The voters of Clacton who previously voted Conservative are an older electorate, mainly white, but there are also pockets of deprivation here. Some people have been speaking to me about the cost of living, about the fact that prices are going up. So we wanted to know what they thought of the fact that their MP has been earning millions of pounds since he was elected. And he said today that he has sacrificed a lot of potential income when he became their MP. It has to be said that his salary and income is far higher than the average here. Now, Nigel Farage framed this as an election all about the establishment versus reform. He said it'll be up to the people of Clacton to judge him, not the media or Parliament or the Standards Commission. So we asked the people of Clacton what they make of it all. This is what they told me.
Would you vote for him again?
Yes, probably, yeah.
The £5 million, all of those questions wouldn't put you off?
No, wouldn't, no.
Do you think that this election, though, is a way of avoiding those questions about that money? It is, isn't it?
I wouldn't have thought so. If he stands what he's saying, I think it's good. But we don't know, do we?
So none of these questions about the money and the £5 million...
Money's gone missing in Parliament for years. I mean, it's just that they're against reform coming in. Conservative and Labour have just been absolutely useless. So time to have somebody else in, I think. And I think because of that, and they know that everybody is starting to think reform needs a chance, I think they're just questioning every single budget.
But do you think they're right to question him? I mean, he did get this amount of money, and do you wonder what he would get in return for it from this guy who's into crypto? Do you think there are legitimate questions?
I think if you dig deep into every single person that walks in Parliament, they've all got their dirty ways, let's be honest.
And they don't put you off?
No.
Every MP gets security for themselves now, so why shouldn't he?
But do you not have any worries about that £5 million? I mean, what did this crypto guy want in return?
Well, that's just it. No one knows, do they? Who can answer that question?
Nigel Farage could if he stayed and didn't resign.
If he's willing to tell you.
So people do have questions about that money, as you saw there. People understand that it is right to question Mr Farage about it, but they are also very much behind him, a lot of people that we spoke to. They say that he does have popular support here, and that's what he will be banking on when we go to another by-election here in a few weeks' time.
Darshna Soni in Clacton. Well, a short while ago for our Forecast podcast, I spoke to the creator of the Conservative Home website, Tim Montgomery, who's now a Reform supporter. He was joined by Ben Habib, a former ally of Nigel Farage, as he was the co-deputy leader of Reform UK, but he's since left the party and is now a confirmed critic from the right. And they were joined by the pollster Luke Trill from More in Common UK.
I don't think so. I don't think he's handled this affair particularly well. I think he's looked too defensive in some of the interviews that he's conducted, and he hasn't conducted enough interviews. But I think Reform gets a level of scrutiny from the media that is off the scale compared to other political parties. You know, the Financial Times recently... No, absolutely.
Come off. I was sitting here politely listening.
100%. Reform threatens both the Conservative Party and the Labour Party. A parliamentary process where ultimately Labour and Conservative MPs decide whether Nigel Farage gets suspended or not is not going to be fair. Much fairer to go. Hang on, just 1 second. Much fairer to go to the voters of Clacton. We're in a democracy. Let voters decide.
Well, except they don't know. They don't know the truth, do they? Well, the commissioner hasn't ruled. There hasn't been an inquiry. He hasn't had the chance to answer or ask any questions. Well, what are they going to be voting on? Nigel Farage's version of the truth.
Well, I thought you conducted a journalism exercise. You examining Nigel Farage all the time.
You don't resign if you're innocent. You resign when you're guilty. As it happens, I'm not suggesting that he is guilty. There's a process that has to be gone through. But if you feel you're going to be found guilty, that's when it becomes politically expedient to resign. And what he's done here, which you've alluded to, very cleverly, is forestall the Parliamentary Standards Commissioner's ruling and take it back to the people, casting himself as David versus Goliath. But actually, that's not what's happening here.
Question around the 5 million is, would Nigel Farage have decided he was going to stand for Parliament if he hadn't been given 5 million quid's worth of financial security? Those are the questions we don't know the answers to going into this new by-election.
I began by saying I don't think he's handled this affair particularly well. He does need to acknowledge that this isn't a box of chocolates.
Do you think it influenced his decision to go into Parliament, knowing that he now had this 5 million quid nest egg in his bank account?
Well, what influences Nigel Farage all of the time is that he gets up every day knowing it could be his last day. The security threats to him are enormous. It's a gift to help him afford his own security.
But as Ben says, it was a gift by a political donor in the year before he became an MP, while he was the owner of Reform and the honorary president. The idea that Nigel Farage was not a politician in some form.
So that's a very important point.
He took this money. It's nonsense.
May I just develop that point? Because he's repeatedly said in the last few days that he wasn't politically active. Nigel Farage has been politically active non-stop since 2019 as majority shareholder and director of Reform UK. Every single thing he's done with that in the background.
Now, Luke, tell us about what has been happening over the last few weeks of this controversy swirling to Reform's polling numbers.
So when you ask people the extent to which the 5 million, if we focus on that, affects people's view, and particularly whether it negatively impacts their view of Nigel Farage, around 57% say that it has a negative impact, whereas around a third say it doesn't really affect their view of him at all. But interestingly, and I think this is the really important point, amongst Reform 2024 voters, so the people who backed Reform at the last general election, they are much less likely than average to say that it affects their view of him. In fact, 74% say it doesn't affect their view of Nigel Farage. And what it seems like when you look at the polling, particularly on the 5 million, which is what we've got, is those who don't like Nigel Farage don't like him even more. As a result, or say they don't. Those who are the sort of true supporters of Reform UK say, actually, it doesn't make much of a difference. I think the group that Nigel Farage has to worry about are the middle group. They are people who didn't back Reform in 2024, but might be open to backing them in future.
Absolutely. It may not be anything to worry about in Clacton. Clacton we'll see the result of that soon. But that is the group you need to carry to win a general election. And so if this weighs on that middle group, then even if he wins Clacton, he's going to feel that he's got uphill struggle all the way to the general election.
I mean, if you're so confident, we now know that Rupert Lowe's not going to stand. Why don't you stand against Nigel Benn? If you believe this case is so overwhelming, make it to the voters of Clacton.
I think it's really brilliant thinking from Rupert Lowe not to stand. This isn't a legitimate by-election. It's one that's been called in order to short-circuit parliamentary standards. That's why it's been called.
As Margaret Thatcher would say, Fritz, you're Fritz.
And Rupert Lowe, I don't know whatever Frick means.
Cowards.
Rupert Lowe not standing is the right thing. I don't think the Conservatives should stand, and Labour and the Liberal Democrats should boycott the by-election as well.
Can we talk about George Cottrell now? Because this is the latest story that the Sunday Times have revealed.
I hardly know him. Clearly, he committed an offence. But he served, justice.
Do you think it's wrong
these things
to pursue donations?
What I do believe, Trish, is I think part of why Nigel Farage has been quite angry and irritable and underperforming in interviews of late is he knows he messed up. I think privately he knows he should have been more transparent. I think
so you think he should have declared?
Yes, I do. And I think he does, really.
Luke Trill, Ben Habib, Tim Montgomery, thank you all so much for your time. That's the forecast. Things are moving fast. Bye-bye.